Accidentally Mine by Bella Love Wins. Narrated by Cassandra Metcalf and Patrick Zeller.
Chapter 1. Brent. They were all there. Men in slick tuxedos, women in sparkling dresses, all preening for the press. And me. Why me? Oh, that's right. Because I was the man of the hour. But unlike all the rest of them, I was looking for the nearest exit.
Relax, it's just one night,
my sister Claudia said, as she dusted off the sleeve of my tux before giving me a parting air kiss, her thick brown hair framing her face.
Let them adore you, they want to, and you deserve the recognition.
I adjusted my stiff black jacket and bow tie as she disappeared into the crowd, thinking that there had to be a way to save the world without my peers being compelled to pour praise all over me. Couldn't I just do good anonymously? Apparently not. Thus, this event on the rooftop of the Revere Hotel overlooking Boston's Back Bay. A gorgeous venue overlooking the lights of the harbor. Nice, warm, early May Saturday night. The best city in the world. Fantastic people. They sipped expensive champagne. I'd rather have a beer. They nibbled on fancy finger foods. I'd rather have a burger. They were comfortable in stiff monkey suits. I'd rather be at home, in sweats, on the couch, watching the Bruins, or out on the course with my beau. To me, it was an unendurable event, honoring the Boston Children's Hospital's Humanitarian of the Year, which was a worthwhile endeavor, for sure, if that Humanitarian of the Year hadn't been me. I accepted congratulations from the 100th person that night, sipped tasteless champagne from a crystal flute, and tugged on the collar of my tux. My collar size was more like a 17 than a 16 and a half. Another reminder note I needed to tap into my memory key, so I wouldn't have to suffocate next time I was dragged to one of these things. The key was my baby. Technology I'd invented and had loaded on my phone. Technology that organized my schedule, held my reminders, and basically saved my ass as a businessman. I had my neck size and about a dozen more things I needed to log into my key, but now was not the time. Which was a problem. If I didn't enter them now, those details I wanted to note could possibly go the way of about 1 million other thoughts I'd had in the past 2 years. Straight into the big black void of my head, never to be recovered. Thus, the key, my little lifesaver. I was constantly thumbing notes into the thing. It had saved me countless times. That was the reality of suffering from a traumatic brain injury. Though the forgetfulness had improved dramatically over time, I was still ultra careful to log things because I never knew which detail would disappear or when. Like now. An elderly man leaned over to me, a big smile on his face. Great event, so worthwhile, and so good to have you be a part of it. He seemed vaguely familiar, and I felt sure I'd been introduced to him. Earlier this evening? I wasn't sure. I had the feeling he was somewhat important. The effortless way he wore his tux, like a second skin, told me as much. I couldn't, for the life of me, remember his name. I wasn't this bad, usually. But I'd been introduced to no fewer than 200 people tonight. Even without a TBI, I'd be struggling. Perhaps. When I started Key Technologies, I had a lot of balls in the air, and I juggled each one of them. Prided myself on having a steel trap on my top floor. Never forgetting a name, face, event. Before the accident, I got off on events like this. Worked the room, charmed them all. Now, I felt like a bull in a china shop. I'll see you at the hospital on the 22nd, the man said in a smooth voice. I frowned. The 22nd. The hospital. Yes? He studied me, eyebrow raised like he may have thought I was playing a joke on him. Yes, you know. To discuss your advancements with the board, correct? Disjointed pieces of information slowly solidified in my head, like scattered jigsaw pieces finding a home. Victor Morgan, head of neurology at the Boston's Children's Hospital, the man who had nominated me for this award. Right. Ah, yes, of course, I said, several beats too late. Looking forward to it. He let out what sounded like a sigh of disappointment. I sensed what he was thinking, that it had slipped my mind because it didn't matter to me, which was the furthest thing from the truth. But he couldn't know that. In fact, the TBI was something I didn't share with most of my peers, not even the ones with my... He nodded and walked away, probably insulted. Fantastic. My tie was choking me. I pulled on it as a woman with red hair grabbed my elbow and started chatting my ear off, like we were old friends. I'd been introduced to her, too. I remembered the pink dress that flashed her cleavage, but nothing else.
Are you going to?
She asked. Big surprise. I didn't know what she was talking about. I shrugged noncommittally. Possibly. Great. Leave it to me to come off as the most indecisive CEO in the entire city. I needed to bail. Excuse me. I moved past her, and a tall, blonde woman tackled me from the other side, licking her lips and clinging to my arm for dear life as she told me how wonderful I was.
You're really a star, she gushed. I'm proud to know you.
My head spun. Thank you. Excuse me.
Don't you remember me?
She asked, her forehead furrowed. I looked her over. I had no idea. Investor, one-night stand, my mind swam. I'm sorry, I attend many events and...
Erica Hawley,
she snapped. Another name that carried absolutely no weight and drew another blank stare from me.
I'm from the Globe. I did an article on your latest patent for the health and fitness section 2 weeks ago.
Ah, yes. I thunked my forehead with my palm, giving her my most charming smile as I desperately tried to remember the article. Thank you. Very nice job. She rolled her eyes, clearly disappointed.
Did you even read it?
Before I could answer with what probably would have been a lie, she turned on her high heels and stomped away. My head hurt from the strain of this night. It was worse during stressful situations, and galas like this qualified, which was just one of the reasons I couldn't stand them. I could usually remember major past events. I had the most trouble with people and ideas. Concepts and thoughts would strike me and sometimes be forgotten a second later. Not a great thing to happen to a man who had built his business on his ideas. Events were a big no, because my short-term memory was liable to short out at any time. I was forever wandering into a room, only to wonder what the fuck I'd come there for a second later. Other than the memory thing, there were the headaches, the light sensitivity, the insomnia, occasional seizures. The list went on and on. After 2.5 years, the symptoms had improved and were still improving, but I had no idea if I would ever recover fully. The doctors said it could take several years. I might never recover completely. The brain was a funny thing, and brain injuries were like snowflakes. No one was like another, making it impossible to tell how or if I'd recover. I'd gone into engineering because I liked the exact science of it, and that precision was paramount. But with a TBI, there was no exact science. Ever. I fiddled with my bow tie, trying to loosen it a fraction. Fuck! There was something about my shirt I wanted to remember, wasn't there? On cue, my throat closed. The memory came hurling back. Right, too tight. 17, not 16.5. I checked my watch. Only 3 more hours of this bullshit, and I was home free.